we are sitting surrounded by the greatest biodiversity on Earth. And as you can see on those numbers, it is in Spanish, sorry about that. But if you see on those numbers and the graphics, you can get to understand that this is an incredible country in terms of biodiversity. We also have a lot of different threats toward the decimation of these numbers, because there's a lot of problems that any of these groups of organisms are facing. We are having a very difficult political, sanitary, and social situation here in Colombia right now, and it's been getting worse. And of course, the biodiversity is being really affected by these behaviors from the society. We just got to read this report from the WWF and about global population, wildlife population declining. And in the world is a situation, the average in the world is a situation that is really, really concerning. But in Latin America and the Caribbean, the situation is tragic. The populations of wildlife out there in Latin America and the Caribbean are going below, almost become, if the curves, it keeps this behavior, we are facing a huge extinction of many populations that are being studied. This is only relating to the populations that have been studied for decades, but there's a lot of population of animals that are not included in this study. So the situation is dramatic for many species of animals and plants in Latin America. We need to work all together to do something to stop, or at least give a little more time for these species that are going to become extinct in the next years. The La Reserva Bioparque Foundation is a private non-profit organization that we created with Sandy Sangen 12 years ago to promote the knowledge and the conservation of Colombian biodiversity, to promote the sustainability on society, and to promote the science of animal welfare. We believe that these three areas of knowledge are really important for a country in a developing world like Colombia, because we need to face a lot of social challenges, economical challenges, and we need to integrate the biodiversity knowledge and use in order to give a lot of welfare, not just to animals and ecosystems, but to the people. As you know, there's a lot of people that doesn't have anything to eat, anything and they don't have any hope. And we need to find out that biodiversity can be the key to make up a better country for people and for ecosystems. So this is why we created this foundation and the Bioparque as well, in order to give a tool for achieve this idea. Our main goal is to change. You know, we have a cultural setup here in which we, in these countries in Latin America, most of the people that live in these countries are always thinking of trying to control nature and control biodiversity to get the possibility of use it in a traditional way. For example, people here think that, you know, if you're in a rural way, you need to take all the forest down in order to look to be able to create a farm or a livestock growing farm or something that is controlled by the system of production, the traditional system of production. So they don't care about the water, the soil, the biodiversity that is surrounding the land that is being developed. So all these situations have attracted a lot of threats to the biodiversity and even to the people living in there, because they are losing the water, they're losing the soil, and everything is going to finally giving them a situation in which they have to live, because they are going to and the resources where they are located. This is the system that we want to change. And this can be changed if you affect not only people working in rural areas, but the people that are living in urban areas, including children and visitors to Colombia. We, at the foundation, we created 3 projects. We believe that we needed to be able to reach as many people as possible in different levels of knowledge and in different levels of interest on wildlife protection and ecosystem conservation. We created a project directed to one group of animals because we had a lot of information and we had a lot of training on bird of prey rescue and rehabilitation. We created the center that had been working for more than a decade without any being funded by the foundation. We receive and rehabilitate many of species of raptors. You know, Colombia is the country with the biggest diversity in birds of prey in the world. So it's important that these species stay in the ecosystems because they are, you know, completely important as indicators of the health of the ecosystem in Colombia. We created also, this is the biggest project that we have, is La Reserva Bioparque. It's a park that is open to the public, close to Bogota, and it has a lot of interesting characteristics that I'm going to present. And the Institute for Conservation, Sustainability, and Animal Welfare is an institution that we create to discuss academically all the information that we are trying to send to the society and to make research with the help of the universities in order to make people, you know, not just university students or college students, but anyone that is interested in learning or understanding about conservation, sustainability, or animal welfare, that it will be open to any kind of public. So we wanted to make a bigger effect to get to the people that is not attending a career or something formally in the university. At La Reserva Biopark, we have these two components. One part of the park is devoted to immersion exhibits and ecosystem representations, in which we keep animals that cannot be released back into the wild. As you know, the amount of animals that are being poached in Colombia for the illegal wildlife trade, the national and international illegal wildlife trade is enormous. So there's a lot of animals in rescue centers around the country that need a place to stay for the rest of their lives, because they cannot be released and they should not be euthanized. So we serve as a sanctuary for these animals at the biopark, but we are not showing them separated, but we are trying to put them in ecosystem representations that I'm going to explain later. The other part of the park is a high-end ecosystem ecological restoration program, because we have 19 hectares of a mountain that is surrounding the biopark, and this ecosystem was so altered that it lost its biodiversity due to a couple of forest fires, old forest fires in the 80s and in 2007, that burned down all the diversity of plants and killed most of the life that is in the soil. So I'm going to show you pictures of this later, but this is the park. It has the area that we built for the animals and the plants from all the country, and the area that we are restoring for the ecosystem that is surrounding us. We, as I told you, we started this foundation, only 2 persons, with our own money. We are self-funded. And of course, everything is so rustic, everything is so how can I tell you, simple in terms of facilities and equipment. It's really simple. We put a lot of effort on imagine the best way to make the right impression on the visitors. This is our classroom in which you can get to see that there's people, paying attention to video presentation or whatever in an old warehouse that is surrounded by plants that are taking control of the building and stuff like that. And then an owl is going to fly all over the heads of the people that are receiving the lecture. So it's a little bit crazy, but it's really interesting because the people really love to be surrounded by this kind of surprising environment. The start of all this idea of the biopark, I had the opportunity of visiting the Smithsonian National Zoo in Washington, D.C., United States. I have the opportunity of working and have friends with people that work with Michael Robinson, and who was the person that presented the concept of the biopark in the 90s to the world. And of course, I wanted to continue his idea, but in this case in a tropical country, because I do believe that this concept is the most successful one to educate Latin American society. I believe that this is the best way, because the idea is to put the person or the humans in context of the rest of the species of the world, put their lives in the middle of all the process that the rest of the species, plants, animals, and the ecosystems will show how humans live because of these relationships, and how animals are making our lives being able to experiment welfare, wealthy, health, any kind of situation that affects human lives and behavior. So the idea is really complex from the point of designing the right message for every place inside the biopark, but in terms of being able to do it and being able to measure the how people get affected to these exhibits and ecosystem representations in the biopark, you really get to see that this model is successful. This is how it seems, just by a picture. Of course, if it's really easy to understand the idea when you visit the biopark, but it's just a picture, and in which, as usual, you will get to walk through the exhibits. You will get to feel to feel the temperature, the humidity, the odors, the colors, and everything. And you will get to be surprised by animals that are everywhere surrounding you. We needed, when we were designing the biopark, we needed to include all the biological process that should be appear happening in front of the visitors in the same place at the same time. All these processes like metamorphosis, adaptation, orientation, or reproduction, all of these should be shown to people in a form that they can experience a new way to understand biology. This because if we want the people to be the society to be more biologically balanced, we need to show them biology, but in a way that is interesting for people that are not sitting in a classroom. So this is why we set up plants, we set up animals that are interacting with plants, and we can show everything that is related to all these relationships to the visitors without having any troubles of communicating with any kind of age of the visitors. So it is really interesting, the result. Also, ecological process, because once you get to understand how an animal, a plant works, we needed to show visitors how they get related with the environment surrounding them, including other organisms, and including the soil, water, air, and even humans. So this is why we created a path in which you can get to see all these processes happening in front of your eyes. It sounds really easy, but it wasn't, because if you don't have money and you have the idea of making a difference with this message, well, we had to solve a lot of troubles and challenges when we were designing this. We had the help of a very good sub-consultant that is a close friend of mine. She's Austrian. It's Monica Phoebe, that works with Sulex, the International Studio Designing organization in Austria. When you get to put everything together, to show people how is the biology of these organisms, to show people how are the ecological relationships between these organisms, and how they affect our lives as humans, and you put them all together functioning in front of your eyes in a very nice setup, with plants, with heat, with the humidity, and all of this, the result is going to be this. Everyone is going to say, wow. And when you are guiding a group through these ecosystem representations, you get to hear this expression all the time. If you don't get to hear this, we fail. Because if you get to if you get to hear this, you definitely made possible the connection between visitors and the message that we want to send, changing attitudes. We are going to make a pause here so you can translate, and we can resume.
So, wir geben eine kurze Zusammenfassung der ersten 12 Slides. Ivan hat damit angefangen zu erzählen, dass die Biodiversität in Südamerika eben sehr groß ist, dass es zum Beispiel beeindruckende 763 Arten von Amphibien in Kolumbien gibt. Und leider ist aber diese Biodiversität und auch die Anzahl der Tiere, also der Populationen, stark gefährdet. Und wenn es so weitergeht, geht es also weiter quasi nach unten. Und der Rückgang der Arten ist also wirklich sehr bedrohlich und erschreckend. Deswegen reifte in ihm der Entschluss. Er hat also zu zweit mit seiner Frau diese Stiftung gegründet, weil er etwas dagegen tun wollte. Und der Hauptanlass oder der Hauptzweck ist sozusagen, auch das Verhalten der Leute in Kolumbien zu ändern und mehr zu einem Zusammenleben von Mensch und Natur zu kommen. Dabei soll besonders berücksichtigt werden eben die Biodiversität, dann die Nachhaltigkeit und auch das Wohlbefinden der Tiere, also Tierschutz im Grunde auch. Die ganze Stiftung teilt sich in 3 Teile auf. Das sah man schön auf dem Bild mit den 3 Kästchen. Einmal ist es eine Auffangstation für Vögel. Dann ist es der Biopark selbst, der aus verschiedenen Ökosystemen besteht, die direkt eben dort erlebbar sind. Und es ist eine Stiftung, wo es mehr um Bildung geht, wo Schulen und Universitäten hinkommen können und man zusammenarbeitet mit ihnen, um Forschungsprojekte vorzustellen und weiterzubringen. Es ist aber auch an Leute gerichtet, die keinen universitären Hintergrund haben, die aber mehr eben über Ökosysteme erfahren wollen. Ja, dann hat er angefangen, über La Reserva selbst und die Ausrichtung zu erzählen. Wie gesagt, dort sind verschiedene Ökosysteme dargestellt, da wird er noch drauf eingehen. Der wichtige Hintergrund ist sozusagen, die Natur mit allen Sinnen wahrzunehmen und zu verstehen, dass alles vernetzt ist. Also er möchte die Leute ansprechen oder ja mit allen Sinnen sozusagen erwischen und sie zu einem Wow Effekt bringen, also die Begeisterung für die Natur im Grunde entwickeln und wecken und dadurch dann die Zusammenhänge vermitteln und Prozesse klar machen. Und vor allen Dingen ist ihm also wichtig, dass der Mensch Teil der Natur ist und sich nicht als ja, außerhalb der Natur sieht. Ja, ich glaube, das war's. So, just a short summary, Ivan. I think you can continue your presentation.
Okay. Well, how did it start? Well, with Sandy Sangen, we decided to start this as something that we wanted to offer to Colombia. We built by ourselves La Reserva Bioparque that is located only 3 kilometers away from the city limits of Bogota. As many of you will know, this is a huge city, one of the biggest cities of Latin America, has around 9 million people living there, and a lot of other smaller cities surrounding it. We opened the park in 2008, and the capacity right now is 75,000 visitors per year. If everything was normal, if everything was working as we expected when we designed it. Right now, of course, all the capacity and the density of visitors are being decreased by 70%. And right now, as I was telling you before, the park is closed due to restrictions for the coronavirus. Everything is guided, which we decided to make everything guided because that's one of the biggest strengths of the biopark, because when you have a group that is guided by a person that is a professional in biology or animal science or is a veterinary, you get to make a connection with the visitors, and the information that they will give makes the interpretation of the exhibit or the ecosystem representation something that is going to last in the minds of the visitors. This is why we made it everything by guided tours. We have you can see in the slide on your left, the size of Bogota is a huge city, and on the right you get to see the land in which the biopark is located. There's 19 hectares of Andean forest that we are restoring ecologically, because as I told you, that mountain you can see there was burned down in 2007 to the ashes. I mean, everything was gone. It was only the rock was exposed, and all the diversity was gone. So we started to develop this ecological restoration program, and we at the end of the presentation I'm going to give you some results. Well, how it looks inside the biopark. You can see this is one of the most important ecosystem representations that we have. We wanted to make a representation of the tropical rainforest, but how you put the animals and people if it's difficult to mix them together for security reasons. In this case, we made this kind of tunnels that are mainly made from exotic invasive species of trees and shrubs that we are taking down from the ecological restoration site. And with this way, you can get to put people in a safer way instead of in mesh. We have these ecosystems representations that we are showing here: the Andean low forest, the Bogota wetlands, the tropical rainforest, the high Andean forest, and the tropical dry forest. Those are all ecosystems in Colombia that are endangered of extinction. I mean, we're not talking about endangered species here. We are talking about endangered ecosystems, because most of these are only 2 or 3% size of the original area right now. So they are about to be extinct with all the species that were living there. This is a detail of the picture of the tunnel in which we do this. It's a little bit crazy to show an RP eagle like this very close to people, but this is the only place in the world where you can get to a walkthrough in a rainforest exhibition with an RP eagle this close. But we have working really hard to understand the behavior of this species, and we are really sending a strong message for people that walks below an RP eagle. You can't imagine the faces, the smiles and the faces that people get when they get to see confronted by these eyes that you can see there in that picture. Is incredible. We also have the tropical dry forest. The tropical dry forest, you get to walk through a very hot environment with pale greens in the vegetation. You get to find yourself immersed in a place with several animals that will walk through your feet or fly above your head, like these ones, like the species and more. Interesting because there's no separation from the plants, from the areas that are planted, and people, the visitors will never dare to walk through the areas outside the pathways because they don't understand what is going to happen or what is going to appear in the next curve. So it's really interesting to keep them so focused on what they are looking for and how they react when they find like a toucan or something or some animal really charismatic in front of their eyes. This is the Bogota wetlands. We created an area in which it's open for native species to colonize it. We have several species that have been visiting these Bogota wetlands. Bogota wetlands are really interesting because those are high Andean wetlands in the tropics. This ecosystem is really particular in the world, and the problem is that the Bogota wetlands are only the percentage of the Bogota wetlands that is still here is only 3% of the original area, because the city was built in drying out these wetlands. So all the species are really in danger, as you can imagine. We have some behavior exhibitions, 9 species of birds of prey that have been rescued and rehabilitated by us that cannot be released for several reasons. Will fly over people every day. We use this not just as an education tool. We use this as a welfare methodology of keeping them fit and healthy, because these animals, most of them they don't have problems, physical problems. They only have behavioral problems. They were hand raised or something illegally by somebody in the country, and then we think that they won't survive if they were released back in the wild. We also saw the developing of the biopark made of, as a sustainable way to build a place like this. So everything in the park was recycled. All the materials for building were recycled. Everything was reused. We used the facilities that were already there at the land. We have a very good message in terms of what you can do with stuff that is supposed to be sent out as rubbish. And we also have an alliance with a university, and we're receiving solar panels for changing the way we use electricity. Over education and interpretation, we have a very strong group of persons, and it's a project that is one of the most important at the Biopark. Everything, as I told you, is managed to have people really interested in every square meter of the biopark. We also conduct several workshops every time for people, for adults or for children, in which people will even feel places, we being blindfolded and stuff like that. It's really dramatic the way people behave when you change and surprise them with activities that they are not expecting. Also, anthropomorphism and anthropocentrism are carefully about it, because we have a very in Colombia. There's a lot of need to change this, because many people will think the animals are like humans, and many people will think the other way around, that animals are there only for our joy and for us to use them. So we are trying to balance this in the society. Also, we put a lot of our knowledge in animal welfare science on this, because the biopark was designed the basis, the basic scientific way to design the biopark was started as a university lecture that I used to do in a university here. We put all the information that I developed for the lecture and made it and adapted it to a theme park. So, a scientific lecture is not interesting for children. It's not interesting for people that are not academic, people that just want to have a good time. So it was really difficult, but we managed to put all this information about sustainability, conservation, and animal welfare science into the exhibits. So it works really well, and people get to understand how to relate to animals, not in an anthropomorphic or in an anthropocentric way. These are the conservation projects that we are currently working in. It's a pity that we have to stop everything for these projects in March 2020, last year, due to the lockdown for the healthy reasons that you know. We ran out of funds to keep these projects going. So hopefully in the future we can resume them because they're really important for the country. We have the Harp Eagle Conservation Project. We are really close to start the breeding of this species for the first time in Colombia. We have the Mountain Koala project that we have been working for 20 years. We are the only institution in the world that have been keeping them and breeding them and researching about the species. This is a raccoon-like animal that lives around Bogota. The flame-winged parakeet, that is an endemic species from the skirts of Bogota. It's really close to Bogota, and we have the only two animals in captivity in the world. And all the black hawk eagle that you can see there in the picture. At this point we have the first breeding situation ever in Colombia for the species. We are really happy of this. And the rescue rehabilitation of local wildlife that you can't stop, because every day or every 2 days, or at least once per week, you get to see somebody with a cardboard box in the entrance of the biopark, trying to give us an animal that is injured and need help. And we, of course, we need to receive it, even though there's some authorities that will deal with that, but we cannot do anything. We need to think about the welfare of the animal that we have and fight and try to do the best to save him. Yeah, now we are going to make the second pause and you can translate again.
So, das übernehme ich mal. Ja, ich probiere das alles ganz kurz nur zusammenzufassen. Also der Biopark ist 2008 eröffnet worden und ist 3 Kilometer von Bogota entfernt, also einer wirklich riesigen Stadt mit 9 Millionen, was man eben auf den Bildern ganz schön gesehen hat, wie riesig das wirklich ist. Der Park selber ist 1,5 Hektar groß. Dazu gehört aber auch noch ein Areal von den Hochanden, wo halt eben ein Wald abgebrannt ist, wo jetzt ein Aufforstungsprojekt läuft. Das ist 19 Hektar groß, da wird er jetzt aber gleich noch ein bisschen mehr zu erzählen. Und in dem Park werden einfach die verschiedenen Ökosysteme von Kolumbien gezeigt. Und er hat halt so ein paar Beispiele genannt, wie zum Beispiel den tropischen Regenwald, wo man dann eben diese Tunnelkonstruktion gesehen hat, die gebaut haben, um Besucher und Tiere voneinander zu trennen, damit da alle sicher leben können, und haben sich da so eigene Konzepte quasi überlegt. Und dann hat er noch den tropischen Trockenwald vorgestellt, wo man den Weg durch die Gehege hat, also wirklich ein Gehege zum Durchlaufen, wo man an jeder Ecke irgendwie ein anderes Tier entdecken kann. Und hat auch noch die Feuchtgebiete Bogotas gezeigt, wo auch Tiere aus der Umgebung wirklich ja quasi den Lebensraum finden, der so immer mehr verschwindet. Und ja, ansonsten haben sie auch noch 9 verschiedene Raubvögelarten. Das hat er so ein bisschen gesagt, dass da ein Schwerpunkt liegt, wo sie eben so Flugvorführungen machen, einmal um die Tiere zu trainieren, weil sie halt alle aus illegalem Handel stammen, also oft irgendwie nicht mehr gut sehen können oder von Menschen von Hand aufgezogen wurden. Und das ist dann einfach ein Weg, die zu trainieren, aber den Leuten gleichzeitig auch zu zeigen, also den Bildungsfaktor mit reinzubringen. Genau, dann haben sie beim Biopark generell viel Wert auf eine ökologische Bauweise gelegt, einfach um diesen nachhaltigen Gedanken auch komplett zu leben, und setzen auf Bildungsprogramme mit diesen geführten Touren, um den Wow-Effekt an die Menschen zu bringen und denen einfach das ganze Ökosystem so ein bisschen zu zeigen. Genau. Und der Biopark konzentriert sich halt nur auf heimische Arten und nimmt die auf, haben halt ganz oft Leute, die mit verletzten Tieren kommen, die gefunden werden. Und die werden dann halt im Biopark wieder gepäppelt, wenn es geht, ausgewildert, und wenn nicht, dürfen sie eben im Biopark bleiben. Ja, wenn zu Nicht-Corona-Zeiten können sie 75.000 Besucher im Jahr empfangen, und das ist halt gerade nicht möglich, weil die auch im Lockdown stecken. Und ganz viele der tollen Projekte, die er vorgestellt hat, von der Harpie oder den Bergnasenbären, wo sie Nachzuchten haben, die es sonst in Kolumbien oft gar nicht gibt, können jetzt halt einfach gerade nicht mehr stattfinden, seit letztem Jahr schon, weil die Einnahmen fehlen. Und ich denke, zur aktuellen Situation wird er dann auch gleich nochmal was sagen. So, you can continue.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we go on. And as I was showing you, the red area is where the biopark is located. That is the municipality of Cota. Is a small town that is located right beside the biopark. This park doesn't have this municipality of Cota doesn't have a water source different than wells. They have to buy the water from Bogota, which is a very big problem for the people living there. There are more than 20,000 people living there, and they have a very big problem of water source. So we obviously we thought that the biopark needed to have a very good environmental impact on people surrounding the area where the biopark is located. So we managed to create the biopark with the name of the La Reserva, means the reserve. So this reserve could get to help people living surrounding the biopark. These are pictures of how the mountain was consumed by fire in 2007. It was a huge and very dangerous forest fire because it affected a lot of people. Even several houses were burned down, and it was terrible. It was really expensive to extinguish. Since day one after the fire was consumed, we started doing ecological restoration, first with the help of some schools visiting the biopark, and then we got the help from the Swiss government and the Swiss embassy in Colombia, and some of the Swiss companies that gave us a lot some funds in order to make our dream come true, and we were able to hire the experts of Andean forest ecosystem rehabilitation. So we made a lot different designs of plants of native plants that should be planted in the following years in these areas. We made all the research about the state of the art of the place after the forest fire. We made all the calculation on how it was going to be seen in the future, how it's going to work in the future. These designs of the ecosystem that we wanted to work there. We also made all the research about the historic ecosystem that were there before people introduced invasive plant species like eucalyptus, like pine trees, like acacias. And we made a lot of research on how to bring water back to the surface in order to people to use it. So we were able to make a restoration of 5 hectares in a difficult situation, because everything is, so you can see how is the topography there is really difficult, but we were able to do this and conduct the studies to understand what was the effect on this. And we had a lot of different professionals from different universities, and we look for the native species that were there before all our impact in the mountain, and we found out that many of these species were not able to get them, because these species are not commercially propagated in Colombia. We had to ask for the help of the birds, as you can see in the picture in the middle. So we put a lot of these perches in the mountain for them to rest, and of course we collected all the droppings. And then we got a lot of the species that we needed to do a proper restoration project. These are some pictures of the situation during the project of planting the 30 species, different species of trees, of shrubs that we planted there. And of course, all the events that follow the restoration, the visits of the public, the visits of the children from schools to understand what is an ecological restoration project, the visits from the ambassador from Switzerland and stuff like that, and the evidence of education about what we achieved at this place. That was incredibly fast how we made progress with this ecological project. The importance is not that we restored 5 hectares of andean forest, but we were able to show how ecological rehabilitation is a science that need to be popular in the next years in Colombia, because we are losing a lot of hectares of different ecosystems. And we were able to send a message to the common people, to visitors. And they understand that it's not just planting a tree. They understand that it's following a plan in order to reestablish ecological processes in a place. And we went from this picture in the right, on the left, sorry. Everything was burned down to this. I hope it works. The video. So this is the same place. This is a small dam that we have there, and this is how it looks 10 years after we started the ecosystem restoration. So we are really happy, because we had a lot of indicators that it is working. We went from 10 species of birds that were living there after the forest fire, and we believe that we have more than 80 species of birds in the restoration area in 10 years. So it is a major achievement that, having in mind that we are working with a high altitude ecosystem is not as easy as lowland ecosystem. So diversity here is not as good, as big as in the Amazon or in the Pacific coast of Colombia. We are really happy about this. The other project that we have is the Institute for Conservation sustainability, and animal welfare. We haven't been able to do anything in the last years due to lack of funds, but we have done 10 international courses and workshops for more than 600 students. As I told you, this is a non-formal institution. We are just putting our best on this, but we are not formally organized. We are not a formal organization, but we were able also to make one international conference on environmental interpretation and education with lecturers that came from United States and the UK, and it was really big some years ago. So hopefully in the future we can start courses again and conferences. And the last project, as I was telling you, we have a big problem about the declining of the species of birds of prey here in Colombia. We have been working with several species. Our main focus, of course, is the harpy eagle, but we have some other species here. We do a lot of rescue and rehabilitation, and we do a lot of release and monitoring of high altitude species in our own reserve. We show this to the visitors that they can see the free living animals that were rescued by us right now. In order to end, I would like to send a message to everyone that is listening to this presentation. We are facing the worst situation since we opened the park, as we have been closed for many months, in a total of almost 10 months in the last year. So it's been really hard to keep the biopark and its projects going. The foundation cannot, is not being able to fund for everything. The biopark is facing uncertainty in terms of what is going to happen in the next months due to the lack of funds. And of course, we have been supporting it. The people that work at the biopark, we have never, since the beginning, I have asked for a salary. We have been working, volunteering there for more than a decade. But this is the moment in which we need to ask some help from all the people that really care about this way to educate for a better country here in Colombia. We believe that we can also make some alliances with people that likes this way of educate and impact people, and hopefully we can do more of these presentations in the future and show you how we are trying to do a change here in Colombia. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much for this talk. I will do the translation first, and then we start with the questions.
Okay.
So, jetzt hat uns noch ein bisschen mehr von dem Wiederaufforstungsprojekt erzählt, was halt direkt neben dem Biopark stattfindet. Da ist durch sehr massive Waldbrände sind über 350 Hektar von diesem Wald eben zerstört worden und auch viele Häuser. Und da haben sie so ein bisschen Pionierarbeit geleistet und haben mit ganz vielen Wissenschaftlern quasi ein System entwickelt, wie dieser Wald wieder aufgeforstet werden kann mit verschiedenen Arten, so dass es danach auch wieder ein funktionierendes Ökosystem ist. Und ja, ganz spannend haben sie dafür die Vögel zur Hilfe genommen. Die haben sich dann halt einfach weil es ja die Anden, Hochanden sind, ne? Das ist einfach eine schwierige Topografie. Genau, und die Vögel haben dann die Samen quasi weiter verteilt. Und so ist das Projekt gewachsen. Und ja, in den Bildern hat man, glaube ich, sehr beeindruckend gesehen, den Vorher-Nachher-Vergleich. Und genau, insgesamt konnten sie von 10 auf 80 Vogelarten quasi diesen Bereich wieder aufstocken. Die haben also das Ganze mit Monitoring begleitet und halt immer quasi Bestandszählungen durchgeführt und haben ganz wichtig auch noch eine Wasserquelle für die anliegende Gemeinde genommen. Da ist der Wasserzugang halt nicht so gesichert, wie wir das hier gewohnt sind. Und normalerweise wird das halt eben eingekauft. Und da war das ganz super, dass sie da jetzt noch eine alternative Wasserquelle gefunden haben. Genau, dann hat er noch kurz von diesem Projekt erzählt, was so ein bisschen mehr sich um die Bildung kümmert für die Akademie, also so eine akademische Richtung, die halt dann internationale Kurse für Studenten machen und Workshops und auch Konferenzen, was jetzt natürlich auch alles leider Corona-bedingt nicht stattfinden kann. aber einfach auch um dem Bildungsauftrag nochmal so ein bisschen nachzukommen. Und nochmal schwerpunktmäßig eben die Raubvögel vorgestellt, wo einfach sehr viele verletzte Tiere abgegeben werden, die möglichst immer probiert werden aufgepäppelt zu werden und dann hoffentlich wieder ausgewildert werden können. Aber viele bleiben auch einfach im Biopark, weil die Verletzungen so schwer sind oder weil sie aus Handaufzuchten kommen und einfach nicht mehr draußen überleben würden. Genau, und ja, die letzte Folie sehen wir noch. Also dem Biopark geht es sehr, sehr schlecht. Ob die Arbeit da fortgesetzt werden kann, hängt halt auch so ein bisschen von Spenden ab und wie das jetzt in den nächsten Monaten da weitergeht, gerade mit Corona, weil ihnen die Einnahmen einfach von den Besuchern fehlen. Und also es gibt hier verschiedene Möglichkeiten, den Biopark direkt zu spenden. Wir werden aber auch gleich vom Zoo nochmal in den Chat hier einen Link posten, wo man dann spenden kann. Und dann werden wir auf jeden Fall auch Spenden an Ivan weiterleiten.
So, Ivan, I think we can start with questions. Thank you very much also from my side. It was really very interesting and so fascinating. I can't imagine how one person is doing all this work and organizing, having such different ideas and different aspects. I think you really have a very big impact at Colombia, in Colombia. So, and I really want to visit you.
Very welcome.
See it live.
Yeah, sure.
So, so I will ask the visitors if they have questions. Hat jemand eine Frage an Ivan? Jetzt ist die Möglichkeit, live ihn zu interviewen und noch Fragen zu stellen. Petra, wie sieht man das, ob jemand eine Frage hat?
Also jeder kann sich selber natürlich jetzt freischalten.
Ja. Okay.
Also den Ton wieder selber anschalten.
Ja.
Und eine Frage stellen oder natürlich im Chat. Aber ich glaube, Lennart hat sich gerade gemeldet.
Ja.
Er muss sich nur eben bitte freischalten vom Ton. Genau, super.
First of all, thank you for the presentation. It was very interesting. I have a question about the reforestation. Did you introduce new plant species or did you plant only the species that were there before the fire?
Yeah, that's a good question. Thanks to you for bringing it. Yes, we made a very long study on how was the ecosystem before any of the alteration of the 19th and 20th century, and before that there were not too many information on how was the ecosystem surrounding the city of Bogota, but we were able to find that the a list of species that were dominating the landscape in this area. Since there, we started to look for these species and for the other species that were we were completely sure that were there before the forest fire and all the alterations. So we introduced only species that were there before all the alterations. We didn't introduce new species to the place because we wanted to know if we can restore the original habitat, the original ecosystem. In the future, we can sit down and discuss the enriching the diversity of the place with new findings about new species that were, but everything has to be registered there before. We don't want to make an impact with new species.
Thank you.
Well,
should I translate the question and the answer, Xenia?
Weiß ich nicht, wollen wir das noch übersetzen?
Oh, ich glaube nicht, oder? Also vielleicht ganz kurz, also die Frage war, dass, ob auch andere Baumarten benutzt wurden zur Wiederaufforstung als die im Original sowieso dort gewachsen sind. Und Ivan hat gesagt, dass sie das lange untersucht haben und überlegt haben, welche Arten sie nehmen, dann aber im Endeffekt nur wirklich die genommen haben, die dort vorkamen. Ja, da ist eine andere Frage reingekommen. Ich bin mir nicht sicher, ob Ivan die sehen kann. Ivan, there's another question coming in the chat. How many people are working in the team of the park?
Well, as you can imagine, we have a very bad time last year and right now. So the Bioparque staff have we have many people that are not working with us anymore. Right now we are 13 persons working, having focused on animal welfare, and we have and we have some people for maintenance of the facilities, security, stuff like that. But we are 13 right now, working all the time with, and most of them have been, they have their salaries reconsidered in order to help the foundation. They are doing a huge sacrifice in order to keep the biopark going. Some of them are here listening to this presentation. I want to take them in public because they are heroes for this. They're making a lot of sacrifices.
Ja.
Ja, also die Frage war, wie viele Leute denn in dem Biopark arbeiten. Und er hat gesagt, das ist natürlich gerade Corona-bedingt auch alles sehr reduziert. Und derzeit sind es 13 Leute, die da alles am Laufen halten. Und ja, möchte sich auch so nochmal ganz herzlich bei dem bedanken, weil manche zuhören, weil das für ihn gerade wirklich die Helden der Stunde sind, die da alles am Laufen erhalten.
Ja, die Situation kennen wir ja auch aus unserem Zoo, aus dem Krefelder Zoo. Wir waren ja auch zum Teil im Lockdown und Tiere muss man halt versorgen und füttern. Das heißt, die Leute müssen auf jeden Fall da bleiben und ich denke mal, bei ihm machen sie es wahrscheinlich dann sogar auch ohne Bezahlung, einfach weil man ja die Tiere dann versorgen möchte. Schaue ich gerade mal, Link hat also Ivan, I'm seeing on the chat that some people sent some money, so that's good news. And there's another question, if you can tell us something about the frog project.
The frog project. Well, yes, Tesoros, yes. We have a lot of trouble here in Colombia about the misuse of biodiversity. There's a lot of problems about destroying and poaching entire populations of animals for human use. This has been happening for centuries, as you can imagine, since everything can be sold anywhere in the world. In a country with a high biodiversity will be perfect to collect wood, plants, animals, whatever can be part of a commercial transaction internationally. So the first we started at the same time with the Biopark. I created Tesoros Colombia. Tesoros de Colombia is devoted to find the best practices to breed really rare and endangered species of amphibians in order to solve the problem of the illegal demand for these species worldwide. So we developed the protocols and the guidelines to breed them in captivity in good numbers in order to stop the poaching in the wild for them, to keep them as pets in different countries where it's legal to keep them. So it's an alternative that is at this point is saving at least one or two species from the extinction, because they are not longer being collected in the wild for this demand, international demand. And then we are also funding Tesoros people and the network that is working with Tesoros breeding now the species in other countries. They are supporting the creation of reserves. They're supporting the creation of educational programs for locals living surrounding these areas where the frogs were collected in the past. And we are also working on new species that are really in the brink of extinction for overexploitation or habitat destruction. So it is a project that will, if we put the foundation and this project together, they are really, really strong in terms of making a difference on conservation, because they are practical projects, and definitely they have a good impact on the society in way, it's showing the way that we have to relate to the biodiversity. We hope that we can grow in the future. It's not an easy task, as you can imagine. We are self-funded. We are doing anything we can to do this. And of course, if more people support us, we are going to make a bigger change in the next years in Colombia. But well, we are really happy at this point of what we have accomplished, even though we are having a really hard time here.
So, ich übersetze mal gerade noch, dann können wir zu den weiteren Fragen kommen. Also Alvin hat nochmal gesagt, dass einfach der Missbrauch der Natur in Kolumbien schon Jahrzehnte alt ist. Also Wilderei und illegaler Handel mit Wildtieren ist da sehr, sehr verbreitet. Dadurch werden gerade die Froschbestände auch immer mehr ausgerottet. Die Haltung von Fröschen, von Fallgiftfröschchen vor allen Dingen, ist ja sehr weit verbreitet weltweit, auch hier in Europa, in Deutschland. Und oft sind das eben keine Nachzuchten, sondern illegal gehandelte Tiere. Und da hatte er die Idee, 2008 hat er diese Stiftung gegründet, um gefährdete Arten nachzuzüchten, und zwar so gut nachzuzüchten, dass man sie zu einem günstigen Preis abgeben kann an die Froschhalter. Und dass dieser Preis auf jeden Fall billiger ist als der Preis der illegalen Frösche. Und so hat er im Grunde die Schmuggler mit den eigenen Waffen geschlagen, indem er den Markt überschwemmt hat mit Fröschchen und die illegale Nachfrage gestoppt hat. Und so ist da eben auch die Wilderei auch gestoppt worden. Im zweiten Schritt haben sie dann die lokale Bevölkerung auch aufgeklärt, die teilweise eben die Wilderer auch gestellt hat in der Nähe der Waldgebiete, wo die Frösche entnommen wurden. Jetzt ein weiteres Ziel ist eben, weitere Arten aufzunehmen, die auch zu züchten. Oft ja jahrelange Kleinarbeit dahinter, bis es gelingt, so eine bestimmte Art auch zur Nachzucht zu bringen. Und das ist aber alles eben finanziert aus eigenen Mitteln. Das heißt, wenn wir jetzt mehr spenden und wenn mehr Leute mehr spenden, dann kann er eigentlich mehr Arten schützen. Also schafft er es, mehr Arten nachzuzüchten, da Wissen reinzustecken und dann eben mehr Arten im Grunde auch zu retten. Ja, genau. Und wir sind eigentlich auch über die Froschchen ursprünglich in Kontakt gekommen und haben letztes Jahr auch schon gespendet an die Foundation und an den Biopark und hoffen jetzt eben auch, dass noch Geld zusammenkommt. Ja, armer Ben.
Du kannst deine Frage auch schreiben und dann stellen wir sie, wenn du noch was hast. So Ivan, maybe you can tell us something about the actual situation with the corona pandemic, and you already said that you of course have to care for the animals, but yeah, when have you opened, when have you closed? So how does it look like in Colombia now?
Oh, it's really difficult to even describe the situation in Colombia, because we are not under a sanitary emergency, but we are facing a political crisis. Everything is so difficult right here at the moment. A lot of protests, a lot of the virus is increasing its presence, and the vaccination is being really slow. I mean, it's like I think it's only around, I don't know, less than 10% of the population being vaccinated right now. And with this protest, everything is going to be really mess in the future, because we don't have places in the hospitals for people. So there's going to be a really difficult sanitary situation at the biopark. We have people living in the biopark right now.
Wow.
That are taking care of the animals 24 hours per day. We have, of course, patients, animal patients that have to be cared for 24 hours per day, like a juvenile harp eagle that received 5 shots, and we rescued with the help of the Colombian Air Force a month ago, and is fighting for its life. And you know how valuable are one of these individuals, because there's only 6 in captivity in Colombia. We have 4 of them. We are trying to do whatever we can. We have permits to go to the biopark during lockdowns on weekends. But yeah, it's difficult because people, when you are facing a situation in which you are restricted by sanitary restrictions, but also there's a lot of protesting and difficulties in order to go out of Bogota to work at the biopark. Well, this is why I call my staff a hero, a group of heroes, because they are doing anything for the animals during this situation. They don't even care about their personal safety. They will go to the biopark to help the animals, and the animals doesn't know all the situation is happening outside the boundaries of the biopark. But we are going to keep working, to keep sacrificing, and to keep sending a message of love and the best way to deal with these incredible creatures and the projects that we are doing here. So we are not going to stop making the best effort we can.
That's really impressing, Ivan. Please send all our best regards also to your staff. So it's really,
Thank you.
Yeah, we wish you all the best. I'm just going to translate. Ja, also Ivan hat gesagt, dass die Frage war, wie es momentan aussieht in Kolumbien, auch mit der Corona-Situation. Das ist halt sehr, sehr schwierig. Er ist seit 10 Monaten geschlossen, der Park, das heißt keine Einnahmen mehr. Und inzwischen ist die politische Situation auch angespannt. Es gibt Proteste. Bisher sind nur 10% der Bevölkerung geimpft. Und es ist fast schon, man darf auch gar nicht mehr unbedingt vor die Tür gehen, aber die haben eine Ausnahmegenehmigung, dass sie also im Park arbeiten dürfen, wobei manche Mitarbeiter wirklich 24 Stunden am Tag, also im Grunde da schon leben, einfach um die Pflege der Tiere sicherzustellen. Einige Tiere müssen eben auch tiermedizinisch täglich versorgt werden, kriegen verschiedene Spritzen 5-mal am Tag. Und er hat noch gesagt, dass es im Grunde sind das für ihn Helden, seine Mitarbeiter auch, weil sie wirklich die eigene Sicherheit auch riskieren, indem sie dort arbeiten, und auch aus Bogota. Bogota ist ja eine 9-Millionen-Stadt. Wenn da Proteste sind, ist es sicher nicht ganz einfach. Die riskieren ihre eigene Sicherheit, um dort eben täglich den Weg zu machen zur Arbeit und dort die Tiere zu versorgen. So, gibt es noch weitere Fragen? Zumindest nicht. Ja, Lennart? Ja?
Do you breed with the animals who are in the park, or are they only there to represent their species?
Yeah, we only breed what is needed to breed. We need in Colombia is quite different from zoological institutions in Europe, because we have a lot of animals coming out from their natural habitats, and many of them have to be placed in rescue and rehabilitation centers owned by the national authorities, and the number is so incredibly huge that there's a lot of animals that need a place to be kept in captivity for the rest of their lives, and there's not enough. So we don't breed permanently species to keep a collection like in a zoological institution in Europe. it's so big the problem that we are talking about millions of animals being taken from the wild each year in Colombia. So we only breed specifically the species that are really rare, endangered, and need to develop a scientific guideline in order to give that guideline to the scientific authorities in Colombia. Just like harpy eagle, the mountain coati, the parakeet that I was telling you about. That's the only thing that we are trying, or the black hawk eagle that we are working right now. But we need at this point we need only to develop the breeding guidelines, because the amount of animals looking for a place in our biopark in this moment in all Colombia is huge. There's lists of that we can count more than 200 animals that are really waiting for getting to our facilities. But at this moment we cannot receive any, because we don't have money for keeping them in the best way.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Just a moment, I just want to translate.
Okay.
But Evan, I have a question. Did I get it right that you have 200 animals that are in your park, or that you need to place out of the park? Evan? I have just a question.
I missed the last part, please.
Yeah, I have a question regarding your last answer. You said 200 animals that are have to place out of your park, or that in your park?
No, those are the animals that are looking for a place at this moment.
Okay.
At this moment, and the biopark, but we cannot receive them.
Okay, I understand. Okay. Also 200 die Mutter. Also die Frage war, ob nachgezüchtet wird auch im Park. Da hat er gesagt, eigentlich nur, wenn es nötig ist. Und normalerweise ist das nicht nötig, weil die eigentlich eher überlaufen an Tieren. Es gibt zwar auch staatliche Auffangzentren, aber es werden so viele Tiere abgegeben und so viele Tiere gewildert, die eine neue Heimat dann suchen oder eine neue Unterkunft, dass ja, also die eigentlich genügend Tiere haben und nicht noch nachzüchten müssen. Sie machen das eigentlich nur, wenn es aus wissenschaftlichen Gründen, um Forschung zu betreiben, um Nachzuchtprotokolle vielleicht ja, herauszufinden. Das ist also bei den Arten, wo sie auch forschen, wie Harpie, den Bergnasenbär oder den Braunbrustsittich. Und ansonsten machen sie das eben nicht.
Ja, oder bei sehr bedrohten Arten.
Ja, genau.
Wo dann einfach generell wenig Tiere vorhanden sind und jedes Tier sozusagen hilft.
So, Dorothea hatte eine Frage, dann nehmen wir die jetzt dran.
Danke. Hi, Ivan. It's really great to see you here in Germany. I would like to know, how is the acceptance from the people living around the biopark? Are they grateful because you restored the woods, or how is the living with your neighbors?
Well, we have a different kind of neighbors. This municipality was before was an agricultural municipality, and since we started the biopark there, it had changed the sociocultural image, because this municipality started to reduce taxes on heavy industries there. So there's a lot of moving of new industries that work for Bogota there, and they have changed a lot. So we used to know the people that were surrounding the biopark, where there were people working on agricultural activities. And right now there's a lot of new immigrants from, not just from Colombia, but from other countries like Venezuela. And we have faced a difficult changing the way we relate to these persons, because in the past we had a lot of people of this surrounding community working for us, working with us, helping us doing the restoration. Right now it's been, as I told you, a little bit more difficult, because we have to rethink the way we relate with them, because there's many more people, new people that come from any kind of place, because this municipality with this change of economical activities now, it seems to have money, but it's not investing in anything related to environment, sadly. And well, we are trying to keep our best to send a strong message to the community toward the water production that is going to be for them for free, and hopefully in the future, well, the impact of the biopark is going to be taken as an example of how a group of people can make the welfare of the community surrounding them much better, because at least they will have running water.
Frage war, wie denn das Zusammenleben mit der Nachbarschaft ist, wie die Leute drumherum eben den Biopark wahrnehmen, ob die zum Beispiel auch bei der Aufforstung geholfen haben. Und Ivan sagte, dass das früher so war, dass auch viele geholfen und unterstützt haben, aber dass das Problem jetzt gerade eben ist, dass es Steuerreduzierung gab und gerade in der Region um den Biopark viele neue Firmen hinkommen und man halt auch eben viele Leute aus Venezuela hat, die nach Kolumbien kommen. Das heißt, das Nachbarschaftsverhältnis hat sich sozusagen ein bisschen geändert und deshalb wird es auch immer schwieriger, die Leute davon zu überzeugen. Und genau, das Problem ist eben, dass da Firmen hinkommen, aber die Naturverbundenheit fehlt und eben nichts für die Umwelt getan wird, sondern ja, der Biopark ist da, aber man beschäftigt sich nicht so richtig damit. Und er möchte aber weiterhin, dass das irgendwann ein Beispiel wird, wie man einen guten Einfluss auf die Umgebung haben kann, wie der Biopark das eben machen kann, dass man gut mit der Nachbarschaft zusammenarbeitet. Und die Wasserquelle zu finden, war auf jeden Fall ein erster guter Schritt dahin.
Was noch?
Ja.
So, there's another question coming in from Ben. And as you can imagine, Ben is asking about frogs. So he is want to ask you, Ivan, how the situation of the Remani is in the past and how it is today.
Can you repeat that? How is the population?
The situation of the Remani today and in the past.
Well, there's a paper that was published last year by Betancourt and collaborators that shows how can a species be overexploited by a hobby. Ophaga lemani is the lemon's poison frog. It's a species that is endemic from Colombia, endemic from the Pacific coast of Colombia, from a small spot in the geography, and it was considered the grail of the frogs in the hobby for decades. These species were really common in the past. I mean, I have met people that told me that people that they cannot. There were places in that they cannot walk around because they would probably step on one of those frogs, because they used to be even close to roads, public roads and stuff like that. This paper that I was telling you about says that around 80 or 100,000 frogs of this species were taken illegally from Colombia for the international hobby of frog keeping. This is incredible because this species seems to be, well, it is an endemic. It is a species that should be protected by all the regulations in Colombia, and Colombia has joined CITES since 1981, and since then the numbers were increasingly high of collecting and exporting not just this species but other species of poison frogs from Colombia. And the problem is that we created Tesoros de Colombia in order to save this species from extinction by making a project in which they could be bred all year round in large numbers, enough to stop the illegal demand and create a legal one, and also to be able to these facilities and processes to breed enough frogs to be released back into the wild and save the species. We have at Tesoros, we have achieved all of that. We are only waiting for the local authorities in Valle del Cauca to receive the frogs we have offered them bred at our facilities. We are only waiting for that. The community is ready to receive them and start an ecotourism project there to show how practical ways of conservation can be applied to these problems. Now, the situation of the flag anemone is really bad. They are only protected in one national park. Outside of this national park, the population is declining. It seems to be a handful of thousands of animals that remain in the wild in Colombia. So if we don't start, doing this project of breeding for releasing in the future and educate the communities and create more reserves for the species, I'm afraid this is a frog. This is a species that is going to become extinct for overexploitation, and secondly for habitat destruction.
Ja, die Frage war jetzt nochmal zu einem Froschthema, wie es denn mit den Fallgiftfröschen der Art Lemani aussieht, also den Lehmannsfallgiftfrosch. Da hat er einfach kurz erzählt, dass die halt eben endemisch in Kolumbien sind, also nur dort auf der Welt vorkommen. Und dass es da früher Gebiete gab mit super, super vielen Tieren, wo die Leute quasi berichten, dass man schon aufpassen musste, wo man hintritt. Und dass es dann eben ein Paper gab, das untersucht hat, wie viel illegalen Handel es wohl mit dieser Art gab. Und dass die festgestellt haben, dass circa 80 bis 100.000 Frösche dieser Art über den illegalen Handel ihren Weg in die Welt gefunden haben, halt zu Hobbyerhaltern, wo die Nachfrage sehr, sehr groß war. Und genau deshalb hat er eben das Projekt Tesoros de Colombia damals gegründet, hat dann eben nachgezogen und wie wir eben schon gesagt hatten, den Markt dann quasi mit Nachzuchten überschwemmt, sodass der Preis für die Tiere gesunken ist und sich das dann für Wilderer nicht mehr gelohnt hat. Aber die Population hat dadurch natürlich extrem gelitten und da muss man jetzt ja weiter dranbleiben und gucken, dass man den Bestand da jetzt weiter schützt. Also es ist nicht so, dass man sagen könnte, die Arbeit ist erledigt, alles ist wieder gut, sondern das ist noch fortlaufend.
So Ivan, I have a question in addition. Is it a possibility to bring them back into the wild?
Yes, well, we are breeding enough for the international demand, and we have offers since last year to the authorities, which are the local authorities. I mean the CBC, which is the local authority in Valle del Cauca, where the species is only naturally distributed in the Pacific coast of Colombia. We have offered captive bred animals for yearly a number of these animals to be released in the wild, to monitor them and to help the communities to protect them by using them by using them, I mean, in an invasive way, but to develop an ecotouristic program in international and this project in which they will add value to the species other than collected them for smuggling them out of Colombia. So if they see that these frogs can bring them any income by tourists, people that want to take a picture of one of the most elusive amphibians in the world, they will protect them. And that's what we want to do. We have offered this to the authorities, but we haven't got any answer yet.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, that sounds like a good solution if it's working.
Yeah.
I'm just translating it. Meine Frage war noch an Ivan, ob es nicht die Möglichkeit gibt, quasi seine Nachzuchttiere dann auch wieder auszuwildern, wenn die Region geschützt wird, wo die vorkommen. Und er sagte, ja genau daran arbeiten Sie jetzt auch. Sie haben jetzt eine Genehmigung eines Projektes erwirkt, dass Sie also nachgezüchtete Tiere wieder auswildern dürfen. Und die Idee dahinter ist dann eben auch, die lokalen Gemeinden mit einzubeziehen, dass sie sozusagen dort Touristen hinholen, die eben diese besonders exklusive Art gerne sehen möchten in der Wildnis und so der lokalen Bevölkerung auch ein Einkommen zu bescheren, dass sie sozusagen dann vom Tourismus leben können und dort ein besseres Einkommen haben, als wenn sie die Fröschchen fangen in der Wildnis und eben schmuggeln.
Can I add something?
Mhm.
Another example of what the Soros is doing with these communities is that we have started a work where the Andinobaris Doris swansoni lives, which is a really small poison frog endemic to a place called Tolima in Colombia. This species is an Andean poison frog that it belongs to a group of 13 or 15 species that are really endangered to become extinct in the next decades. With this particular species, we are working with the local community that is devoted to the main economical activities is coffee production. We are helping them to develop the quality of this coffee in order to be able to be exported with the seal of with all the seals of quality, and also to have the image of the frog and possibly the image of the Soros de Colombia. We hope that to help these producers and be able to export. We kindly ask you that in the future, if anybody knows somebody that will be able or interested in importing this coffee to raise funds to protect this species from extinction, it will be great. So I just wanted to add that, because what the Soros is doing is trying to find a way to people to make locals protect their own biodiversity.
Yeah, I think that's the only way how conservation is working, to include the local people. So and we have a similar project with a coffee plantation in Costa Rica. So we are selling some coffee in our zoo shop. So maybe in the future, when the project is growing and you're exporting, we can also sell your coffee in our zoo shop.
Right.
So I'm just translating. Ivan hat noch von einem anderen Projekt erzählt, wo es um eine andere Froschart geht, die auch sehr gefährdet ist oder auch sein wird in der Zukunft, weil die auch sehr begehrt ist. Und da ist die Idee, der lokalen Bevölkerung zu helfen, also auch eine andere Einkommensquelle zu geben und sie bei der Kaffeeproduktion zu unterstützen und die Kaffeesorte zu veredeln und eben auch zu helfen, dass die vielleicht exportieren können, vielleicht auch das Bild vom Fröschchen dann auch als Logo sozusagen zu benutzen und dann in der Hoffnung eben, dass durch diese alternative Einkommensquelle dann eben auch der Schmuggel eben gestoppt wird. So I see that Ben is asking on the chat which species it is.
The coffee project.
Which species of frog, I think.
The genus is called Andinobaris. Andinobaris, and the species is Doris swansoni. Doris swansoni.
Okay. Yeah, he is saying okay. So.
Okay, gibt es noch weitere Fragen? Wer sich nicht auf Englisch traut, kann auch gerne auf Deutsch fragen und wir übersetzen. Also muss keiner schüchtern sein.
So we have still left 16 visitors, but I think we're now coming to an end. There are no questions anymore. So again, Ivan, thank you very, very much for having given us this presentation. It was really interesting. And yeah, we hope that a lot of money is coming to you, a lot of funds. We will also send you some money again. So we're really, hoping that things are going into a positive direction in the next weeks.
Yeah, thanks a lot for the opportunity of giving the presentation. Thanks a lot for being so friendly and supportive. And of course, I hope this situation changes soon. I will let you know. My staff is sending a message saying thanks to all of you, because this kind of visibility is really important.
Yeah, it's really important.
Also,
you are not alone.
Yeah, they are also saying that they're really thankful because they have checked and we have already received donations from your side. So thanks a lot for this, because this is highly motivational for people that are having a hard time doing their work they love. So thanks for everything, to the Zoo staff, for you personally, to Ben, and everyone that is interested in what we are doing here.
Thank you very much, Ivan. All the best to you.
Same to you.
We will stay in contact.
Surely.
Bye-bye.
Bye to everyone. Thanks for everything.
Thank you so much. Good luck.
Bye-bye. Hope to see you soon.
All the best.